It's Friday. I'm going to attempt to check this thing out. It's torn between this and Sonic Frontiers on Switch, which is the version I want to play. And I don't. Hmm. I haven't had the best expectations for the game, Sonic Frontiers. But the fact that it's different is interesting. And then when people are like, yeah, the Switch version's not great, but it's okay if it's like the only version that you could play. But I could play it on my PC, but I don't think I want that game to run great. I think I want it to be like, yeah, this is what they could pull off on the Switch. Because I feel like if I played on PC, I'm like, they could have done better, you know? Anyway, let me check out Atari 50. As I told one of the guys I work with, who he's taking time off because of God of War. I was like, yeah, back in my day, we only had one joystick and one button. We liked it. This is before my day, but I got a soft spot for Atari games in like I'm gonna say the early 2000s. When I was younger, I thought, anytime I heard Atari, I was like, what's that? It sounds stupid. And I'd see it, and I was like, wow, that looks cool. But never had any interest in, Atari games as a kid. Because I had a Nintendo as the first console in my life. And then the first one that I had for myself was the Sega Genesis. And then I went to the Super Nintendo and so on. But thing is, was like when I found out about, I was, I guess by the late 90s, like everybody I knew was, playing PlayStation and N64, which I was too. But that's when I was like, I like these old games though. Why? Those games look stupid. Why don't you play cool stuff like Vigilante 8? And I'm like, yeah, but yo, Road Rash. Anyway, so I got a soft spot for the Atari when I found out about emulation in the late 90s, and then I didn't actually start trying them out until like the 2000s when I realized like, oh, you can get the entire like Atari 2600 library like downloaded for the size of like 3 Super Nintendo ROMs, which maybe like 2000, the year 2000, like that's still, you're using dial up. It's probably like, I don't know, like 50 megs, which is 6 hours on 56K, but it's every game compared to getting like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 Super Nintendo RPGs. Anyway, let's go. Let's see how this starts off. So, have you played Atari today? I want to hear the jingle. This is so cool. Oh, this is the coolest way to look at how cool this interface is. Oh man, I love this. It's so clean. So, from what I heard, the presentation of the game is supposed to, let's see, welcome to Atari 50, begin your interactive journey through Atari history below, or jump straight to the game library at any time by pressing Y. We're going to press start first and see what these options are. I think that's a start button. Oh, sorry, that's the plus button. This is the minus button I have to press. So you get the credits, you get the language, audio volume, menu music, vibration, licenses. Fonts and stuff, fair. I was thinking that for some reason maybe there's a couple of games in here that they had to get the rights for, but we'll see that later. Vibration, yeah, credits. See what happens. I got confused because I heard people talking about, yeah, man, that Atari 50 collection's coming out soon, and it's gonna be really cool. But then Atari Mania came out, and I was like, oh, is this what everybody's talking about? And I was like, this is weird. I didn't get it. I caught myself because I was like, I think this is what everybody's talking about. And then this just came out, I think maybe today or yesterday or something on here. But Atari Mania is like a bunch of mini games based around Atari stuff. But I hear it's not great because whatever. But this one, here we go. I thought this was only going to be 2600 games. This is everything Atari. So hearing that they called Haunted House or Haunted Houses a survival horror game, this is a remake right here, or a new game. The ones that say reimagined series are new, like they're updated or just changed or whatever. They kind of modified some stuff to make it a little bit more modern, but it's still inspired by the old thing. I didn't know these were going to be on here until today. I was like skimming the reviews, like, is this thing worth checking out? And you have some people like, oh, who's going to play these games for longer than 2 minutes? I'm like, me. Anyway, Thought this was only 2,600 games. Found out this is everything from Atari. That not all the games, of course, but stuff from every single console generation they had. You got 2,600, 5,200, 7,800. Lynx Jaguars on here too. Arcade, I think. So we got Arcade Origins. From its earliest days, Atari experimented with a variety of different takes on innovative leisure, arcade games, music visualization, and even holograms. Birth of the console, 1977, Atari released the VCS video computer system, changing the way we interacted with our TV sets and skyrocketing to massive success. Another ramble. There's people in my neighborhood throw shit out all the time. You know, everybody does it. And occasionally you see stuff in the trash, like you know they're putting it out there in case somebody wants to get it, but it's trash, and it's trash to like 99% of people here. Somebody put out an old wood grain TV set, and they had it facing their house, so you could see the connections on the back, and everything was clean. Like there was no rust or anything on any of the connections. But they had the old what was it, like the RF thing or whatever? I forgot what they're called. The ones that you had to screw in. The prongs, and I was like, oh, I could get this TV, and I could finally get a 2600, like an actual console, because I've never owned the original one. I only had the little remakes, like when they do the plug and play stuff. Anyway, highs and lows. While the mid 1980s saw the release of many excellent Atari games, the video game business was struggling to stay afloat. In the US, the dawn of PCs. For many, the word Atari meant not just games, but their first home computer, even if its main use was to play games. I think that's the thing that every kid did. It's probably not really an issue anymore, but back when I was a kid, I tried to talk my parents into getting a computer because we had them at school and you could play games on computers. Now, back then, to me, even to this day, like when I go back and play old microcomputer games, I'm like, these are weird because I didn't grow up with any of that stuff. I didn't touch any of that stuff until I was like 25. I'm 35 now. Just getting into like, you know, the history of games and all. But it's different. Like old PC games, they don't play like console games do, which is also cool. Anyway, 1990s and beyond. When the game industry made a comeback, Atari was there with new games for the 2600 as well as the powerful new Lynx and Jaguar consoles. That was the Jaguar controller. I remember seeing that thing in magazines. I feel like I had an issue of GamePro, and they had a review for Doom for the Jag, maybe. It could be Imagine. This could have been any magazine or whatever. But I remember flipping through and seeing those cartridges, that right there. I thought that cartridge looked so cool, and I thought that controller was like, at the time as a kid, I was like, whoa, what do all those buttons do? I probably would not have been able to hold that. That Lynx right there, that is a very nice looking console. Handheld. Alright, so, and I guess you get to explore each thing, or again, you can go into the game library. Are these... So this is also... Yeah, that's right, this is a new Sword Quest game. Okay, look at this. This is interesting. How does this work? I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I'm gonna hate on this real quick. I would almost like to see somebody do like a compilation of like old touchscreen like LCD games, just classic ones, even if it was like football and baseball and all that shit or whatever. But some of the Tiger games done in there too. But like, yo, that person's finger, like, man, you could have done something with your nails, bro. Just saying. I'm just saying, it's the box art. It's not much on there. Whatever, that's fine. VCTR, SCTR. That sounded interesting. Yar's Revenge. When I was looking at Atari games as a kid, like in books, like, you know, like, oh, here's the history of video games. I'd look at Atari games. You see all these games, it's just like, it's literally just squares and giant pixels on the screen or whatever. And you have, you know, you got Pitfall, which looked freaking amazing. But, Yar's Revenge is one of those games that you would see like people talk about, like, oh, I used to love playing that when I was a kid. Nobody I knew had ever heard of this. This was when I was going through the Atari library, just trying out different games like that I had downloaded. This was the game where I was like, oh, hold up, 2600 games. Once you figure them out, there's a lot of fun that you can have with those. Alright, let's see. Oh, hang on. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I gotta go pick my brother up. My brother and my mom got stranded at a gas station. Their car that they were in just shut down. But anyway, I guess I can do it this way. Sort by title, recently played. Sort by year. Hold on, I want to see how far back this goes. Pong, there you go. 72, 76. Of course, it's gonna go up to now. Last thing I'm gonna say. What's that? Are these just documents? Oh, this is awesome. All right, anyway. This right here was the game that I heard people talk about when I was like, yeah, I'm going to check out Atari games. And I would have older people tell me, oh man, you should try out Air Sea Battle and Combat. And I'm like, but it's just me. And like these games, I think required another person to play. I don't remember. But anyway, I'll be back. It's going to take me like an hour, I'm sure. So sorry, but I'm pretty sure I'll be streaming late. So peace.